Take a moment and just breathe. You don't have to be anywhere right now. You don't have to perform. You don't have to explain yourself or justify yourself or defend yourself. Just breathe. Let the air come in slow. Let your chest rise and let it fall. There's nowhere to rush to. Whatever you left behind to be here, it can wait. My name is Alfred McCrary, and I just want to sit with you for a moment. Not to teach you something, not to fix you, not because anything is broken. I just want to ask you something that most people will never take the time to ask you. Who are you? Not your name, not your job, not the roles you play every single day. Who are you when all of that goes quiet? That's what we're going to sit with today. Together. Slow, easy. I've spent a lot of my life performing, and I don't just mean on the stage. I mean the kind of performing we all do, walking into a room and deciding almost instantly who this room needs you to be. The strong one, the funny one, the one who has it all together, the one who doesn't need anything from anybody. We put these things on like clothes, and after a while, we forget we're wearing them. We forget that underneath all of it, there's something quieter, something that's been there the whole time, something that watched us put all those masks on and never said a word. I remember being young, out on the road, and the world was loud. Loud in the best ways sometimes, and then loud in the worst ways too. There was so much noise, other people's opinions, other people's expectations, other people's ideas of what I was supposed to be. And you know what? I started to believe some of it. I started to build a version of myself that was made almost entirely out of what other people needed. You ever done that? You ever looked up one day and realized that the person looking back at you in the mirror was partly yours and partly built for everybody else? That's a disorienting thing. It's not dramatic. It's not a crisis. It's just quiet confusion. You smile and you mean it, but somewhere underneath the smile, there's a question that won't fully go away. Is this me? We spend so much time building an identity. There's nothing wrong with that. We need structure. We need something to hold on to in a world that moves very fast. But somewhere along the way, identity stops being something we build and starts being something we protect. We start defending it, fighting for it, getting hurt when someone challenges it. Think about how quickly you feel threatened when someone questions who you are. Think about how much energy goes into making sure the world sees you the way you want to be seen. That's not identity. That's armor. Armor is useful, don't get me wrong. There are places in life where you really needed it. But armor is heavy, and the longer you wear it, the more you forget it's on. And then one day, you're exhausted, and you don't even know why. You've slept, you've rested, you've done all the things right. But there's this low, constant exhaustion that lives somewhere just beneath the surface. That's the weight of being someone you were never quite meant to be. Not because you're fake, not because you're dishonest, but because somewhere along the way, you started carrying a version of yourself that was built for survival. And forgot that survival was never supposed to be the whole story. I want to be honest with you. There were years in my life where I genuinely did not know who I was. I knew what I did, I knew what people expected of me, and I knew how to show up. But who I was underneath all of that was murky. And the murky places, we tend to avoid those. We stay busy so we don't have to look. We stay loud so the quiet doesn't come. Because the quiet has questions in it. I learned that the hard way. There were moments in my life where everything I thought I was got stripped back. Not violently, just slowly. Like a house that loses things one room at a time. First the furniture, then the walls, then you're just standing on the foundation. And the foundation is what you really are. I'm not going to tell you those moments were beautiful. They weren't. Not at the time. They were confusing. They were lonely. They made me question things I thought were settled. But standing on that foundation, there was something steady there. Something that the noise had covered up for years. Something that wasn't made of what people thought about me, or what I had accomplished, or what I had lost. Something older than all of that, and quieter. There's a difference between the ego and the self. Most of us live almost entirely in the ego. The ego is a part of you that keeps score. It remembers every slight. It catalogs every failure. It measures itself against everyone in the room. The ego needs to be seen. It needs to be right. It needs to be better than, or at least not worse than. And the ego is exhausting because it is never, ever satisfied. You achieve something and the ego says, good. Now what's next? You lose something and the ego says, see, I told you so. You cannot rest inside the ego. There is no rest there. But the self is different. The self doesn't keep score. The self is the thing that's watching. The part of you that notices your thoughts without being fully consumed by them. You've been there. You felt it. The moment when the world goes quiet and you just exist. Not thinking about the past, not worried about the future. Just here, just breathing, just being. That place, that is closer to who you really are than anything you've ever said about yourself. That place doesn't have a resume. It doesn't have regrets. It doesn't need to explain itself. It just is. I want to invite you to do something, just for a moment. Close your eyes if that's comfortable. Now take one slow breath in and let it out. Now I want you to imagine setting something down, not throwing it away, not destroying it, just setting it down. Set down the version of yourself you carried into today. The one with all the worries, the one that's been managing things, the one that's been trying. Just for a moment, set that down and ask yourself quietly, who is the one setting it down? Who is the one who notices the tiredness? Who is the one who can step back from the noise and say, this is not all of me? That one. That quiet witness inside you. That's who we're talking to right now. Take a breath. Good. Now, think about the earliest version of yourself you can remember. Not a specific memory necessarily. Just a feeling. There was a time before all of this, before the responsibilities, before the disappointments, before the story you tell about yourself had so many chapters in it. There was a version of you that didn't know yet what the world expected. What was that like? What did that feel like? Most people, if they sit with that question long enough, they feel something like openness, like a field before it's been fenced in. That openness didn't go anywhere. It's still in you, underneath the fences, underneath the definitions, underneath the story. It's still there. I need to say something clearly. You are not your past. I know you know that intellectually. We all know it. But knowing something in your mind and actually believing it in your body, those are two very different things. The past has weight. I understand that. The things that happened to you, the things you did, the things you said when you were younger or more afraid or more lost, those things have weight. And that weight is real. I'm not going to tell you it isn't, but you are not the weight. Think of it this way. You've carried a heavy bag, maybe for years, maybe for most of your life. And yes, that bag has been on your back. And yes, it has shaped how you walk, how you hold yourself, how you move through the world. But you are not the bag. The bag is not you. You are the one carrying it. And the one carrying it has always had the choice to put it down. Not all at once, not in one moment, but gradually, slowly. The way the light changes from night to morning. Not a sudden explosion of brightness, just a gentle, slow lifting of the dark. That's how it works. That's how it really works. Not in a single revelation, not in one dramatic moment. Just slowly, you put down a little bit more than you carried yesterday. There's something else I want to say here. You are not fear. Fear is clever. Fear sounds like your own voice. That's the part nobody warned you about. Fear doesn't usually come in screaming. It comes in quiet. It comes in reasonable. It comes dressed up as wisdom. Don't try that. You'll fail. Don't say that. They'll judge you. Don't hope too much. You'll only be disappointed. That voice. You know that voice. It sounds like protection. It sounds like it's looking out for you, but fear is not looking out for you. Fear is looking out for the status quo. Fear wants things to stay the same, because the same is predictable, and predictable feels safe. But safe is not the same thing as alive. I spent years listening to that voice, and it kept me smaller than I needed to be. Not dramatically smaller. Not like I was hiding in a corner. Just there was always a ceiling, just a little lower than my reach. And I thought that ceiling was reality. But the ceiling was fear. And fear is not reality. Fear is a story, a very convincing story. A story that has evidence and logic and history, but a story. And you are the one telling the story, which means you have more to say in it than the story wants you to know. This one is important. You are not what they said about you. Not the hard things people said when they were angry. Not the careless things people said when they weren't paying attention. Not the labels. Not the diagnosis of your character handed down by people who were dealing with their own wounds and took it out on you. You are not those words. Words have power. I believe that. But the power of a word lives in the whether you carry it. Some words were placed on you before you even had the language to question them. You're too much. You're not enough. You'll never. You always. Those words, they're not your words. They were never yours. They belong to someone else's story, someone else's fear, someone else's limitation. And somewhere along the way you picked them up and you've been carrying them like they were your own. Put them down, gently, without drama. Just put them down. Those words do not describe what you are. So then, if you're not your past, and you're not your fear, and you're not the words they said, what are you? That's the real question. And I want to sit with it rather than rush to answer it. Because the honest answer is, it's hard to put into words, and maybe that's the point. What you actually are is something that exists before the words. You are awareness. You are the noticing. You are the part of you that can observe your own thoughts without being fully owned by them. You are the part that has survived everything that was meant to define you. You are the part that still reaches, still hopes, still wonders. Even when hope seems foolish, even when wondering seems pointless, there's something in you that keeps reaching. That's not weakness. That's the most essential thing about you. That reaching. That small, persistent, quiet reaching towards something more. That is life itself, moving through you. And it's been there every single day of your life. Even the days you couldn't feel it. Even the days you were sure it was gone. It was there. And it's here. There's a phrase I've come back to many times in my life. Coming home to yourself. I used to think that meant getting back to who you were before the world changed you. Well, I don't think that anymore. Because the world was always going to change you. That's not damage. That's living. Coming home to yourself doesn't mean going backward. It means going deeper. It means finding the thread that runs through all the versions of you that have ever existed. The you at 7 years old. The you at 17. The you at your lowest. The you at your highest. There is a thread, a quiet, consistent thread that connects all of those versions. It's in the way that you love, in the things that make you stop and catch your breath, in what breaks your heart and what fills it back up. That thread, that is you. Not the story, not the resume, not the highlights, not the mistakes. The thread. Follow that. The title of this reflection is The Quiet Truth About Who You Really Are. And I want to tell you the quiet truth now. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It won't look like a revelation. It will look like a Tuesday morning. It will look like a moment when the noise dies down and you realize you're okay. Not okay in spite of everything. Not okay because everything worked out. Just okay. Present. Here. Breathing. Underneath everything you've been through, underneath the identities you've worn, underneath the fear and the stories and the weight, there's something in you that has never been broken. It has been bent. It has been buried. It has been ignored and neglected and misunderstood. But not broken. The quiet truth is you are fundamentally okay. Not because you earned it. Not because you fixed it yourself. Just because you are. Because whatever made you made something real. Something that has weight and texture and light. You are not an accident. You're not a mistake. You are not a rough draft waiting to be revised. You are the real thing. Right now, as you are, in this moment, the real thing. Now take one more slow breath. Feel the ground beneath you. Feel the weight of your body, just resting, You don't have to carry anything right now. Just for this one moment, the work will be there. The responsibilities will be there. The world will still need things from you when you walk back into it. But right now, there's just this breath, this stillness, this quiet room inside you that no one else can touch. I want you to know something before we close. The fact that you are here, the fact that you took time today to sit with yourself, to ask the deeper questions, that matters. Most people never do. Most people move through their whole lives at full speed and never once pull over to ask, who's actually driving? You did. Even just for 20 minutes. That says something about you. That says something real. Keep asking. Keep listening. Keep coming back to the quiet. Not because you're searching for something missing, but because the quiet is where you remember what was never lost. Take care of yourself. Go gently. And when the world gets loud again, and it will, remember that underneath the noise, there is still this. There is still you, the real you, the quiet truth.